Yo, welcome back to Military Break, where we talk all things military. Well, majority at least. I'm your host, Patrick Montgomery, aka Mont, and today we're diving into a topic that really got a bunch of service members up in arms and even got me asking all these questions. But how about the Pentagon is officially removing all transgender service members from the military? But what does this mean for the future? Now listen, on February 27th of this year, The Guardian reported that the Pentagon has issued a directive ordering that the removal of all transgender personnel from the U.S. military. Now, this internal memo states that unless specific exemptions are granted, transgender service members will be involuntary discharged. Now, this is a complete reversal from the policies set during the previous administration that allowed transgender individuals to serve openly. But to understand what we got here, we have to look at the executive order that President Trump signed in January. Now, this order claims that gender dysphoria is incompatible with the military service and the national security interests. In simpler terms, the administration argues that transgender individuals are not fit to serve due to medical and logistical challenges that come with gender transitions. But this claim isn't based on facts. I honestly feel like it's a whole political move. This memo gives the military 30 days to identify all transgender personnel, and after that, they have another 30 days to initiate their separation. That's a total of just 2 months before transgender troops are forced out of the military. But for context, many administrative separations in the military take around 6 months to a year. But in this case, they're pushing the speed up to a process it's fast as fuck, yo. But the question is, how many people will be affected? Official numbers are unclear, but estimates are saying around like out of 1.3 million active duty personnel, thousands of transgender individuals are currently serving. Some of these individuals have been in the military for years, have completed deployments, have led leadership positions, and this policy could force them out regardless of their performance and dedication. Now, this move is unprecedented. It's not just a rollback of policy, but it's a complete purge of all transgender individuals from the military service. We're talking about hardworking individuals who have proven their ability to serve are now being forced out because of their gender identity. But what does this mean for transgender service members right now? According to reports, many of them are in limbo. Some are awaiting official guidance, while others are being advised to remain silent about their gender identity to avoid early discharge. Now, there's also growing concern that the policy could set honestly dangerous precedent if the military is willing to remove one group of people based on their identity, because the question is going to be who's next. Unsurprisingly, civil rights groups and legal experts have already been pushing back. Advocacy groups have filed multiple lawsuits against the administration, claiming that this policy violates the Equal Protection Clause of the Fifth Amendment. Now, essentially, they argue that removing transgender troops without just cause is discrimination. It's plain and simple. This situation is a direct reversal of the 2021 executive order signed by President Joe Biden, which allowed transgender individuals to serve openly and required the military to provide medical care that was related to the gender transition. Now, at the time, military leaders testified that transgender service members did not negatively affect military readiness. So why is this current administration pushing for the opposite narrative? Now, to me, this raises bigger question. Is this policy about the military effectiveness, or is it about politics? Now, historically, the U.S. military has been a battlefield for civil rights issues. We saw it with the racial segregation. We saw it, women roles in combat, and with the don't ask, don't tell policy regarding the LGBTQ service members. Now we're seeing that, transgender personnel are getting it. Now, every time the argument has been the same, this group of people will hurt the military readiness, and yet every single time these claims have been proven wrong. Even one former military official stated, and I quote, "We have transgender service members who have been deployed, who have led troops, who have earned high ranking positions. To suggest that they're unfit for duty is simply false." But the question is, what happens next? Right now, the courts could decide to block the policy while lawsuits are underway. But if this happens, transgender service members might be able to continue to serve while the legal battle unfolds. However, if the courts uphold this policy, we could see one of the biggest forced removals of the military personnel in history. And that could have a long-term consequence, not just for transgender troops, but for the military as a whole. But what do you think about this decision? Do you believe that, honestly, that it will stand? Or do you think that the courts will shoot this down and be like, nah, we ain't going for it? But let me know your thoughts, because in this developing story, I feel like, man, this is something we really need to be paying attention to, because this is history. But I want to hear what you guys think. Please let me know down in the comments, and let's continue to talk about it. You think this is something that the military really needs to push? Or do you feel like, our president might be crazy? But again, let me know in the comments. But thank you guys for tuning in to Military Bread. But until next time, hey, let's eat.